or the other IT. These are the structure of the university, by the way. So the idea about this is we want to provide defense in depth methodology for the entire university, and how can we help to improve the security and safety of the university. So these are the main idea of the presentation. Okay. Firstly, before we implement the security, we put the security in place, we have to know our asset, because failure to know the asset we are having, then we cannot be able to develop a good security strategy and then technological implementation. If you look at all of this, you can realize that these are the assets that we need to protect in the university. And also the IT data center. These are where the most places where we need to protect, because the information of the student has to be protected. So these are the assets that we have. Alright, now we identify the asset, then we have to identify what are the potential threats that may affect those assets. So in this potential threat, we have internal and then we have external. Okay, then if after we found the existing vulnerabilities, then we have to identify what will be the impact. What will be the impact? You see, unauthorized access, if you look at it, it's reached more than 80. And then violent incidents, then check vandalism, then terrorism, then fire and natural disaster. So all these we have to evaluate it in terms of this is medium, this is higher, and this is low. So we have to identify. I think this graph has already cleared us that we have issues, violent incident, and then fire and natural disaster, and of course unauthorized access. So since we are talking about university, we might not say we don't have terrorism, since we are not talking about general state or something like that. So now we evaluate the impact of those assets. And then now here comes where we are going to apply defense in depth by applying those 6 Ds. So we have those 6 Ds. I will show again all those 6 in a presentation in details. Alright, so when we talk about deterrence and detection measures, if you look at this, it's just I made this like this is a sample of the university. So we have to have, first of all, we have to have perimeter systems. This is where the visitor management are going to sign on the inside. And then we have restricted somewhere here where I think to be restricted. And then we have perimeter intruder detection. You see it, we put it over here. And also inside the campus, you see we have a lot of cameras, and as well card access control, which I recommend to put it inside the gate. If you are a student, you have to have card for you to enter. If you are staff also, and if you are a visitor, there is a need of finding a way so that they can allow you to enter. At least you know who enter and who go out. So these are in terms of deterrence and detection measures. Okay, in terms of delay and determination strategy, we have this graph. As we say, we are developing defense in depth. So this is our asset. If you look at them, firstly we have inner. These are the inner of the asset. Then after that, what we should need to do is we have to import security barrier. Different security barrier like what? Like turnstiles, like access control. Here we are talking about how we are going to find a gap between the normal asset that we have and how someone can easily reach the asset. So that's why we have to put security barriers. And also then after that we have armed response. Security has to be in place. In a building, security has to be in place at least, because if you look at this graph, we are talking about defense in depth. If you pass this one, then you have another one. So it will be difficult for the attacker have to think twice, because we have different security we have different security in depth layers. And then after that we have inner fence. Also inner fence like access control, we have to put there again. Then CCTV has to be visible anywhere we have. Then outer fence. Outer fence, this is where we are talking about entering to the university, entering to the building. And we are talking about this one is within the data center. And then we have the building. So building also we have security there. So if you look at them, it's like we go in depth layer. You pass this one, then you have another one. So this will make you think more than many times on how are we going to approach this asset. And then after that, we have sterile zone. Sterile zone, we are talking about the pencils that we put in the university campus has to be visible. We don't want we put pencils, but they are not visible. Even our camera cannot show those pencils. So we have to have pencils that are visible everywhere, that we can even see them from our security operations center. So we don't need anything like tree to come and hide them, because if they hide them, we cannot be able to see who is going to enter. So that is sterile zone. And then the last one, access control. That's why I said entering or inside the university, we have to put some warning point for you to even reach the building that this is sensitive places. You shouldn't allow to enter, or it's only authorized people that are going to enter. So then we have outer environment. Outer environment, if you look at them, those are not a security control, but they are the enablers of security. What I mean with enablers of security is they are the one that has to contribute in implementing the security, has to give their own contribution. Intelligence, we have to think proactively, we have to apply the risk assessment of this entire university, and then community. People has to be involved, students, staff, and everything has to be involved in providing the security, the safety of the university. And also we have to apply standard. That is, we have to follow the ISO standard guidelines on that. And then the last one, security culture, that is awareness. We have to give awareness to each kulliyas, many students, especially new students, we have to give awareness. That is why we say, if you see something, say something. So that is, we have to have the security culture. So these are in terms of delay and determination strategies. Alright, in terms of deployment and deduction for continuous improvement, this is where we are going to put all our security, physical security issues in places. If you look at them, it has different cameras, different access controls everywhere. We have to put this. Even though also people are contributing, we put this, and at the same time we clear the strategy in terms of deployment and reduction. That is why we say emergency barriers to quickly secure perimeters or specific areas, automated lockdown system for immediate campus-wide or localized protection, well-trained rapid response teams for swift intervention, and also the use. We have to analyze past events to define strategies and improve readiness. This is where we are going to have true force incident reviews to identify strengths and weaknesses, regular drills and simulation to test protocols and team preparedness, then ongoing standard operation procedure SOP, update based on lessons learned and evolving threats. So these are in terms of deployment and deduction. Alright, we finished the 6 C's, then we are going to discuss about response and recovery, which will be second class of my presentation. So we have, I will explain this figure, but we have to have panic buttons and alerts, type incident response, mass notification system, IT backups, and rapid repair, then recovery within 24 hours. So all this consists of response and recovery. Now back to the people. This is physical security controls. So if you look at them, it's like someone is pointing to someone. What each one is going to do. Now let's start with incident. You see, the work of physical security control, we have to see the incident. And when we see the incident, it has to trigger the threat. Okay, when it starts, then we have to mitigate it. So these are the cycle of when it comes to physical security concern, down of incident, triggers, and then threat. Then also policies. our policies have to define what each security controls is going to be doing. Okay, and then we have self-control. This is where we are going to design protection, and then we are going to define assets and their location to define them, and then we have personnel, which are the main keys of providing the security, and those personnel has to monitor, has to implement, and has to respond. So all of this cycle, it's talking about physical security controls implementation of how are we going to do them. Then the conclusion is we have, in summary, we have some multi-layer security approach. That is usually what we have to do. Then, because one security solution cannot solve each kind of security, we have to have many layer security approach. Integrate people, technology, and structures, right? And then enhances safety and resilience. Then the last one, continuous review recommended. We have to continuously, because if you have this strategy for this time now, we need to always review them, because attack is changing every time. Because attackers are seeing what we are doing, and they are going to find a way to see where is our weakness. It is where is our weakness, so that they can deploy that weakness. So we have to continuously review our strategies, our security personnel, and our tools also. We have to keep reviewing them. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.